Okay, Rabotai, ready to begin Parshat Vayishlach, Sefer of Zera Shimshon. We're going to do Derush Aleph. I made copies for those who want. And before we begin, we're going to say this should be Refuah Shlema for Lili Shmat for Sarah Sofa Bat Yoba
and
Ruach Hashem Yaden Vegam Miriam Bat Osnat Ruach Hashem Yaden.
We do another Lunishmat.
Nishmat also.
My friend just passed away this week. Mordechai ben Dan Zev Moshe.
Mordechai ben Dan Zev Moshe Ruach Hashem Yaden. And we should also do for for Zechut for the Hatufim to get out of there. Eliah HaKohen Ben Sigalit. We should give them the koach to get out of there and see Yeshuot and all of Klal Yisrael.
Amen.
Rabotai, today's Derush is unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, the Midrash Rabbah begins. The Midrash Rabbah says, on the words, Vayishlach Yaakov Malachim. Everybody knows famous Rashi, wasn't real Malachim, were just messengers. Okay. So the source of that machloket is a Midrash. Midrash says, Amar Rabbi Hama Bar Chanina, Hagar, the maid of Sarah and Abraham, Shifhat Sarah, the maid of Sarah, Nizdamna la Hamisha Malachim. She had five Malachim that approached her. She had 5 Malachim. For those who want, we have copies. I made copies of the Sefer, so anyone wants to follow along. So we just started by saying, Rashi writes, were the Malachim real Malachim or were the Malachim messengers? And I said that the source comes from the Midrash Rabbah, and we just started the Midrash Rabbah. Amar Rabbi Hama Bar Chanina, Hagar, the maid of Shifhat Sarah, Nizdamna la Chamisha Malachim, 5 Malachim came to her. This, talking about Yaakov, Shehu Ohavo Shel Bayit, which is the love of the house, meaning the love of the family of Abraham. The love of the family of Abraham. Al Achad Kama V'Kama, how much more so would there be real Malachim versus messengers? Okay? So, that's the first thing that this rabbi said. Then, he writes, Eliezer Avdo Shel Bayit. Eliezer, the servant of Avraham of the Bayit, Nizdamnu lo kama malachim. He had 2 malachim. She had 5 malachim. When she first left, after she said, I got pregnant and Sarah couldn't, she left, right? She ran away. Five times, it says in the Pasuk, and she spoke to Malachim in that episode. Eliezer, when he went to get Rivka to agree to come for Yitzchak, over there, 2 Malachim came to help him. That's what it says here. Eliezer, Avdo Shel Bayit, Nizdamen lo kama Malachim, and this Yaakov, Ahuvo Shel Bayit, the love of the house, meaning the love of Abraham's family, Al Achad Kama V'Kama, certainly he was able to get real Malachim. Okay? Kal V'Chomer. If Hagar was able to get real Malachim, certainly Yaakov. And the same rabbi said, Eliezer was able to get real Malachim, certainly Yaakov. This is the opinion of Rabbi Chaim Bar Chanina. Comes along Rabbi Yossi in the Midrash and he says, hold on. That's not where we learn it from, that there were real Malachim. A different Kal V'Chomer. Yosef, Ketanan, Shel Shevatim Haya, the smallest, the youngest of the Shevatim. Then Nizdamnu lo Shalosha Malachim, and he had 3 Malachim. Kal V'Chomer, certainly, Zeh Shehu Avihen Shal Kulam, the father of all this, meaning Yaakov, al achad kama v'kama, how much more so that he would have had real malachim versus messengers. Okay, so question is, have you had? So the question is, were there malachim or not? Vayishlach Yaakov malachim. Rashi says, it could either be real malachim or it could be messengers. Where's the source? In Bereshit Rabbah. And they quote two people, Rabbi Chama bar Chanina and Rabbi Yossi. Now, there's only one problem with this entire midrash. And where that chumash? Give me that chumash again. The problem with this midrash is, why do we need kal v'chomers? The parsha right before Vayishlach, at the end of the parsha, says, who had that aliyah? I think Natalia, you had that aliyah. Machanaim, right? At the end of the parsha, it said, "Vayakov halach ledarko v'yifgeu bo malachei Elokim." He was going back home. Malachim came. He found the party of Malachim. Vayomer Yaakov kasher ra'am machane Elokim zeh. So you're telling me a bunch of kal v'chomers, the Malachim, you don't need it. Go one pasuk back. They were real Malachim. Why did the Midrash Rabbah need kal v'chomers and brings Hagar and brings Eliezer, and the other guy says, no, not those two, from Yosef? Why? The pasuk says clearly, "Vayifkeu bo malachei Elokim," and when he saw it, he said, "Machanaim." What did he see? He saw the malachim. So didn't the pasuk right before say it? If that's the case, why does the Midrash Rabbah write kal v'chomers? You know how we know they were real malachim? Kal v'chomer. You have an open pasuk. What's better than an open pasuk? You don't need a kal v'chomer. So the question is, why did the Midrash Rabbah write kal v'chomer and not the pasuk itself? What's wrong with the pasuk? Why couldn't we use it? So, this was one of the questions that the Zera Shimshon first asks, and he says, I'll tell you why. He says, if you want to know why, you need to know Midrash Rabbah very well. We learn that when you say machane, like the pasuk said over there, to make machane, you need to have a certain amount of malachim. And when you have this certain amount of malachim, it's called machane Elokim. God comes down, Shechina. You can't use those malachim because then it's as if you're kicking out Hashem, saying, hey, go back home. Goodbye. He came down. There's a certain number, comes down. If we take out 3 Sifrei Torah, we turn around and say Shema Yisrael, like the Ashkenazim do. They do it, all of them. We do it only by 3. There's a reason. If there's 2, we don't do it. If there's 1, we don't do it. If there's the malachim come down, and let's see this inside. It says, Yesh l'daktek, says the Zera Shimshon, Ma tzarech l'kal v'chomer. In beferush ne'emar, open pasuk, vayifkeu bo malachei Elokim. Vayomer Yaakov kasher ra'am, he called it machanaim. It's a godly camp, and he explains. He says you need the kal v'chomer, and it's amazing. This gets better and better. He says, you know why you need it? Because it says shishim ribu malachim hayu chalim umrakedim. 600,000 malachim were making circles, dancing, as the tzaddik came to the city. Lifnei Yaakov b'chnisato la'aretz, when he walked in, they were all dancing. They were all excited. You have a place? So, and he says, this is the pasuk. What's machane? And machane pachot b'shim ribuy. There's no such thing as machane under 600,000. Ad kan l'shano. So therefore, he says, Yaakov could not take real malachim that were there in that camp. Because and the shloach shalochim le'esav and send them to Esav she'en min ha'ra'u livkom ha'machane shechina. You cannot remove the shechina. You can't touch the shechina. The shechina came down with 600,000. Same number as receiving the Torah, 600,000. There's a whole Inyan here with 600,000. She'en ha'shora al pachot b'shim ribo. Shechina comes down when there's 600,000. Therefore, the Midrash Rabbah tells us the only way we were able to learn this out from is through kal v'chomer. I have an open pasuk beforehand. Won't work. Why? Because those malachim brought down the Shechina. You can't kick out the Shechina and say, I'm sending to Esav messages, have a good day. Can't do that. Therefore, we said, maybe it wasn't real malachim. Comes along the Midrash Rabbah and says, no, Kal v'chomer. Hagar saw 5 malachim when she left the first time. And that same man, the Amar said, Eliezer saw 2 malachim. He needed malachim. It was the worst situation. They tried to poison him. They tried to kill him. they weren't interested. He needed help. Okay. And Yosef had 3. So you're going to ask now why Yosef has less? Beautiful. Oh, you're jumping. I'll get there. It's in the Zera Shimshon. He gets to it. Very good. But once you understand, why there was 5, then you'll know why there was 3, and it has nothing to do with the amount. It has to do with something else. Okay. So very good question. Ella the Akati Kasha. It's still a question. But my pligi Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Chama, why are they arguing? What was the Kal v'chomer? What's so special about Hagar and Eliezer that they were lumped together in one? Why can't one be enough? And what's the argument with Rabbi Yossi who says learn it from Yosef HaTzadik? What's so special about these 3? Now we're going to really understand the Parsha very well. This is very, very important. This is like the basic tenets of the Parsha. We understand how people, sensitivities, and how things are supposed to be in place. It's amazing. Ma'aika Miflagi, what are they arguing about? Yossi Rabbi Chama, the old Lama l'shivcha ve'eved is dam l'hem malachim yoter miYosef. Your question: why did the Eved and why did the shivcha have more than Yosef? It doesn't make any sense. Why is this happening? Yosef was a tzaddik. V'od kasha Lama Rabbi Chama mevishtei rayot. Why one rabbi says 2 proofs, Hagar and Eliezer together, and the other one says only 1? Why isn't 1 just enough? Just say Hagar. Or just say Eliezer. So, let's go through this. Okay. So Vayishlach, he explains why Hagar had 5 malachim. What happened here? What was the story? The story was Hagar, after she was tapped to marry Abraham, she gets pregnant. She starts to say, we have a problem here. Here's Sarah making Gioretz. Here's Sarah putting on a show. She's the Rabbanit. I'm a nobody. I lived with the tzaddik for a month. I'm pregnant. She's been there for 60 years, nothing. Kind of looks like the toho, the inside, and the boro and the outside are not the same. She's not that Rabbanit that everyone makes her to be. And she started to feel that way. And her sensitivities, Sarah's sensitivities were hurt. So a lady who doesn't have children, sensitive about that. Person's not married, after 10 years telling him, soon by you. At some point, they stop telling him, you're hurting me. Onad dvarim. You're not allowed to do that. So she felt hurt. She says, you know what? Out. She ran away. Malachim came to Hagar. But that generation was very different. 5 malachim came. 5 malachim keneged letter Hey. The message was Sarah is missing the letter Hey for Herayon. She has Yud. I'm not going to get into it, but Yud's Olam Haba, not Olam Hazeh, is not going to have kids this way. We have to change her name. Hagar heard that. She just saw 5 malachim, understood, it's not that Sarah is not a tzaddiket. It's that her name needs to be changed. She's missing a letter, Hey. She went back. She saw 5 malachim, not because she's such a big tzaddiket Hagar that she got a lot of malachim to see. It was a message to her. This is the message. The reason why Sarah is not giving birth is because she's missing a letter Hey for Herayon. It's important to also realize a person names a kid. You can get into it in Parshat Teruma. Talks about it in the Zohar over there. It's Ruach HaKodesh. There's a positive and a negative towards every person that's born, and depending on what name you tapped into. most of the time, almost all the time, parents have a little bit of Ruach HaKodesh when they name their kid. And you see as the kid grows, wow, that really fits him. Sarah needed to have a hay. There's a whole Gemara that talks about if you call Avraham Avram, and he brings it down, I think it's in Derush Chet maybe. Vav or Chet, I don't remember. If you call Avraham Avram, you're going to have Avera, you know how to call him. But Yaakov was switched to Israel, you still call him Yaakov. Why? So I'm not going to get into all that, but it's unbelievable. Names have a real big effect. Okay, so Sarah needed a hay. Hagar made a mistake. And you should know, because Sarah made Hagar have pain that she ran away, the Zohar HaKodesh writes, for that reason, we will have pain under her kids Yishmael. But the way out of it is when you do the name, Yishmael, when you pray to Hashem. When you pray to Hashem, then those Yishmaelim don't have to do their job of making you daven, so Hashem should hear Yishmael. And this is what it says. This says in Zohar. Because the sensitivities of Sarah was hurt, she started it. She felt Sarah wasn't a big tzaddiket, had to put on a show. So she put on, Sarah got hurt, started to retaliate. Hagar ran away from that. She had to come back. That's why there was 5, right?
To teach her that.
Teach her that she is a tzaddiket, but she needs to let her hate. Good. So now Rabbi Chama says, right? What was the purpose? The purpose was there was pain and suffering, sensitivities, and we heard them. Right? Look at the next part. Rabbi Chama mevi ra'aya mehagar shenishtalchu la malachim kedei lahafis da'ata, to appease her. She appeared to have been hurt by Sarah, and comes around the Kedarim b'Derush ala pasuk be'er lachai ro'i. Be'er lachai ro'i. She was sitting by the be'er, and she was saying lachai olamim, like we say before Yomim Noraim Baruch She'amar lachai olamim to Hashem. She said that. She was saying v'amar lachai olamim, meaning re'eh be'el boni, see my hurt. She was hurt. So too, right? And now over here, also same thing by Yaakov, so that Yaakov should also be mind should be settled, like we tried to appease by Hagar and Sarah. We tried to tell her, you made a mistake. This is the real reason. Go back. Same thing with Yaakov and Esav. We wanted him to change his mind, so you can appease the mind. That's what he's going to say here. Let's see that. So, shegam hi chet'ah neged Sarah, she sinned against Sarah. K'dichtiv b'terek yatav ekal be'ereha. Zeh shehu ahavo shel habayit shaloch at haklal neged Esav. Right? Yaakov never made a sin. He didn't sin. Mother said do something. He did it. That was the end of that. He didn't sin. He's not a bad person. The berachot lekacham b'tzivu imo. He did keep it of an aim. And I'm just going to skip a little drop. Eno mikol shekain. Isn't it certain this the kal v'chomer sheyachol l'shtamish b'malachim? You should use malachim l'shalacham le'esav l'hinatzel mimenu, to save shelo ya'alevenu od, so he would not hurt him any longer. V'yeh Yaakov shaket b'da'ato, so to make his mind settled, just like we made the Hagar's mind settled. So we're going to do the same. That's what the rabbi said. But then the rabbi also said Eliezer. What did Eliezer do? Eliezer needed to do convincing. I'm going to go a little quick because we're running out of time. The next paragraph talks about that. Eliezer did the same thing. What did he do? He used malachim in order to convince Betuel, that ends up dying there, and Lavan, the brother and the father. Send Rachel. Let's get married, send Rachel. They were Rashaim. They wanted to destroy everything. They said, no way. Poison. She's betrothed and nobody knows who, what, the whole wanted to kill the whole thing. Shem saved with malachim. So, what did he use malachim for? For Ahuv, for Avraham, his servant, we used 2 malachim. Certainly, Yaakov, who's the love of the bayit of Avraham's house, could use the malachim for the same reason, to convince Esav not to kill him. That's what one rabbi said. Okay? Rabbi Yossi says, no. You can't bring proof from those two. Why? Because Hagar and Eliezer, Hayu osim retzono shel makom. They were doing exactly what God wanted. Hashem wanted Hagar to return. It was a mitzvah. There was malachim used. Eliezer had to go get Yitzchak married. It was a mitzvah. Malachim were used. We need someone as proof that's not doing any mitzvah. That he did it on his own. And therefore, Rabbi Yosef said, use Yosef HaTzadik as the proof. Yosef was the smallest of the Shvatim, and how many malachim? 3 times. They kept telling him that your brothers moved on mizeh, from this. Zeh is 12. The 12 brothers, they don't count you as their 12. They moved on. Forget them. 3 times that Ish came, it was Gavriel, Malach Gavriel, 3 times. And the Malach said, he left, he's not here, Dotan, he's not here. They're not here anymore, your brothers. Why? He could have, that was it. The father said, go find them, and that was the end of that. No, he kept going, he did things on his own. Yaakov is sending Malachim on his own. Nobody commanded Yaakov to do the malachim. Now I'm going to skip to the end because I'm really running out of time, but I'm just going to tell you. There's a big issue with why Yaakov sends to malachim to Esav. In fact, many of the Manda Amrim hold, the Ramban talks about this, he brought upon himself a problem. You weren't even supposed to pay attention to Esav. He forgot. Who told you to go do a message? You were just told from Hashem, go back to your parents' home. End of story. You went on your own. Why did he do it on his own? So they bring the Gemara in Berachot that talks about Tzaddik ben Tzaddik, Tzaddik ben Rasha, Tzaddik v'Tovlo, and then Tzaddik v'Ralo. Sometimes you're going to see a great Tzaddik and things are not going well for him. Suddenly you're going to see a Tzaddik and everything's going good. Suddenly you see a Rasha and everything is going good for him. At that time when the Rasha is everything's going good, that's his hour. His dice is, his ball is rolling. Don't mess with him, says the Gemara. But Yaakov, he understood this very differently. And he said, listen, I don't want to be responsible. If there's a chance for him to do tshuva, this is the moment. And so he tried to get Esav to somehow do tshuva. And for that reason, he went and sent his messengers.
That goes according to the rabbi who said they sent the malachim to Hagar so she can make tshuva.
Right, same exact reason. And therefore he goes and he sends malachim to Esav as well for the same. That's how the Zera Shimshon closes this. I'm skipping a lot of details because I want to get to the end of it. But the ending is, he did it also in order for Esav to do tshuva. So let's just recap. Malachim, Parshat before, last pasuk says, he saw the Malachim. Why does the Midrash Rabbah asking for Kal V'chomers? Teretz is, those Malachim, he couldn't touch them. Why? They brought the Shechina down. You can't kick Shechina out of the way in order to send a message to somebody. It doesn't work that way. So what did he do at the end? He had to get other Malachim for this. And yeah,
you can do that?
No. And then we asked the Kal V'chomer, from the Kal V'chomer, why Hagar and Eliezer versus Yosef? So one said Hagar and Eliezer had the Malachim, and for sure Yaakov, who's the Ahuv. But the other one says you can't do that. Why? That was a mitzvah. Hashem wanted her to return. Hashem wanted her to get married. Here you're on your own, you're doing it on your own. And then we said, so why then is he doing it on his own? That I kind of went quick over there, but the teretz is he wanted to give that one chance. Maybe Esav would do the tshuva. and he has a chance to go and do it. Otherwise, there was no mitzvah for him. And according to Ramban and according to others, he shouldn't have even left a message at all. He was never mitzvah. No one told him to. All you had to do was go to his parents' house. That was the end of it. Thank you all for listening.